Welcome to King 5. I'm Greg Copeland. This is The Week, a look at what made headlines in our region along with your weekend forecast. In Spokane, there's finally some relief as firefighters make progress containing 3 wildfires burning near the city. Crews now have a pretty good handle on the fires, and residents have now been allowed to come back and see that devastation. King 5's Jim Nelson takes us inside one Spokane neighborhood where the long road to recovery has just begun.
I don't know how many times I've walked by these houses.
Tim and Takako Oberst are getting their first look at the damage caused by the old Trails fire.
I mean, if you look at how lucky this house is to survive and everything around it is totally burnt, it's pretty crazy.
They walked along this busy northwest Spokane street when it reopened. There's a fine line between the work still left to do and the heartbreak left behind.
Pretty amazing to recognize the houses on TV as you're watching it on the news being burned down and saying, I know exactly where this house is. And it makes you think about, is your house still left?
They live a couple blocks away.
I feel fortunate the fire gods have spared us this time.
But so many others are digging through the destruction where homes once stood, finding comfort in Pearl Jam.
They just get so much strength from their music. I just keep it on loop. Yeah, anything you can find.
Finding even more comfort in the messages of hope and love from neighbors written in chalk along the sidewalk, and finding purpose in digging up family heirlooms.
My mom's silverware collection, where I find a piece.
Melted but found, like so many other precious memories.
My mom had a beautiful crystal cabinet, crystal from all over the world, and it's all just melted into the most incredible shapes.
There can be beauty in tragedy, and the little things, like the mailman dropping off letters.
Well, today's the first day they let me back onto my route.
Sidelined by evacuations.
No, they wouldn't let me even touch it for the last week.
The little things that keep tight-knit communities moving forward.
I know people are hurting a lot worse than I am.
Each passing day, it sinks in a little more. And so we're already seeing the resilience of so many people. Look, the road ahead is long, but they've already survived hell on earth. Live in Spokane, Jim Nelson, King 5 News. The cleanup has started. The burned trees that so strongly stood over Spokane are coming down. Just down the hill. Insurance and concerns over hazardous materials have slowed the cleanup inside the wiped out neighborhoods. For now, Porter Lawrence is sifting through the debris of the home where his aunt, uncle, and grandmother live.
I mean, you look around and there's nothing here. I mean, we've got fountain survived, there's some bricks, you can see where their washer and dryer used to be, but nothing is, there's really nothing here other than a couple little stuff.
The homeowners are on a cruise and weren't home when the fire started. Porter's 91-year-old grandma with dementia was evacuated safely. He and his parents are leading the cleanup.
And we were praying and hoping that the one thing in the safe that survived was her cake knife from her wedding.
There was a bunch of papers in there, and so they all were just, as you picked them up, they just kind of disintegrate in your hand, and then the only solid thing that was left was that knife.
You can still read her and my father's initials and the anniversary date on it. So we were just so grateful that the one thing that we prayed would live, would survive, did.
It survived almost 70 years, outlived the groom, and made it through to other fires.
But this was the one thing we were really looking for, and so we're just grateful that it's here.
Makes this all worth it to come out here and sift through this stuff.
You see, survival runs in the family.
Yes, I went through breast cancer 2 years ago. So I wore this shirt so I'd be visible, but I didn't really intend to, like bring attention to this.
So yeah, this family has the fighting spirit.
No amount of crying and hoping and, anything's gonna bring it back. So you just one step at a time, move forward.
That's the type of resolve we've seen from so many people in these communities. Nothing will erase the devastation, but as local, state, and federal agencies work with these communities, the people are coming together. Live in Spokane, Jim Nelson, King 5 News.
The Little Giant Fire in Chelan County has intensified, leading to a new round of evacuations. As of Friday, that fire was nearing 130,000 acres and just 7% containment. Officials say the flames have destroyed 26 structures, including 2 homes. King 5 Sebastian Robertson reports from Eniat.
The small town of Eniat has turned into a base camp for firefighters who are working round the clock battling the Little Giant Fire. Mother Nature is not doing them any favors, with high temperatures and high winds in the forecast. The Little Giant Fire is on the move again, gaining ground and moving south towards the small community of Ardenvoort, threatening homes along Entiat River Road along the way.
Ever since I've lived here, I have a list of things to pack, and so that's all I did. And this is the first time I've had to do that.
So you're ready to go at a moment's notice?
I am, if I need to go, yep. But I hope not.
Thank you.
Longtime Chelan County residents say they're used to fire season.
The last one was in 2015.
But this year feels different, with multiple major fires threatening communities across the region.
In terms of the overall disaster response, this is unusual. It's been a very heavy load on all of the Red Cross personnel that are in the area.
More than 1,800 firefighters from across the state are on the ground in Chelan County. Tents and trucks line the main road through town.
Winds are coming from the northwest.
The Red Cross's emergency shelter has the capacity for 200 people. So far, 8 have sought refuge here.
We've had fires up in that area in the past, and the firefighters, the teams that have gotten here and done the fighting have done always very well and kept the fires away from the local community here.
The lightning-caused fire has been burning since July 15th and has already destroyed at least 2 homes.
They lost everything.
As locals keep an eye on the weather, they stay ready to pivot.
They're level 3. Oh, wow.
Hopeful firefighters hold the line.
It's still fire season. We have another month to go.
Red Cross crews say they are stretched thin between responding to fires in central Washington and the Spokane area. They say they're having to rely on help from outside of the state for what's expected to be a very busy month ahead. In Chelan County, Sebastian Robertson, King 5 News.
Animal control officers in Tacoma have pulled more than 60 cats off an abandoned sailboat near Point Defiance. And in at least one case, somebody ended up in the water to try to save one of them. South Bureau Chief Drew Mickelson has the latest on the unique rescue operation.
Tacoma police officers had to get their warrant amended so they could look within the boat's walls and also behind appliances. And once they started this morning, they had no problem finding additional cats.
Normally we're looking for birds or whales.
Today, cats are the wildlife captured on Puget Sound.
No, 30, 40 cats on a boat is, that's pretty unheard of.
Tacoma police don't remember a call quite like this. Dozens of cats, the count's over 50 now, found on a sailboat, apparently anchored and abandoned. It came as a welfare check last Thursday.
So we removed those 30 and we could still hear the sounds of the cats like behind panels and, behind furniture and such that's not easily movable.
So today, animal control officers went below deck searching for the cats that didn't want to come out. 21 were found by noon.
And so about 3/4 of the way back, or halfway back, is when everybody was pointing at the cat. So we jumped over the side down to the beach.
Ashton Efforts and his buddy Jesse McConaughey were out for their weekly Sunday morning jog when they spotted one of the cats in the water.
All I said was, "Are we gonna do something about it?" And I started stripping and jumped down.
It was cold and the cat wasn't happy about it, but they all made it safely back.
It looks worse than what it is, but the water was so cold you couldn't feel the scratches. And this will heal up. The cat will be alive.
Once on the beach, someone took the cat to an animal hospital. Might these heroes adopt their newfound feline friend?
I personally already have a cat in my studio, so I do not have room, even though I'd love to.
I don't have a cat.
Maybe.
Maybe.
The Tacoma Humane Society will determine when or if any of those cats that have been seized out here will be adopted out someday. The police say they know who the owner of the boat is and they plan on holding them accountable. The severity of the charges may come down to the condition of each and every cat that has been rescued. At this point, veterinarians are telling the police that the cats are in, quote, okay condition. In Tacoma, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
When we come back, our King 5 weather team shows you what to expect in the forecast this weekend, right after this.
Hey everyone, here we go, back into the weekend. I am King 5 meteorologist Adam Claybon. Last weekend, pretty decent. We did start off with some smoke haze, and I think we'll do it again here this weekend as well. We do expect, though, that things will clear out just like last weekend, especially as we head on into the day on Sunday, and that will have some cooling temperatures, slightly, but more 70s around for highs as we head on into the upcoming work week. Now, we have been noticing that smoke haze across the skies, and there's been a higher fire potential because of that with the thunderstorm activity across the Cascades and the Olympics. So as we look at the forecast here, and if you have any hiking plans for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, both pretty comfortable, highs in the low 70s. Just keeping an eye out for some of those thunderstorms during the afternoon. Now, chances will be a little lower than what we've been dealing with here recently, but I think we still have at least a tiny chance of maybe seeing a thunderstorm bubble up throughout the afternoon hours before beginning to die off, heading on into the evening. And Storm Prediction Center has that across more of the Cascades for the day on Saturday. It looks like we are excluding, though, the Olympic Mountains, as system is going to depart off to the east, and it's going to take more of that energy off towards the east. And you can see that trend continue into the day on Sunday, as those isolated thunderstorms will be well off to the east across Idaho and down into parts of Oregon. All right, so we do still have those air quality alerts around. I think a lot of those will be beginning to end, though, as you can see. We are seeing up across Skagit and Whatcom County, things improving, some good air quality ahead for us as we head on into the next couple of days. Eastern side of the state, until further notice, we're still going to be dealing with some of that poor air quality, especially along the eastern slopes of the Cascades. And you can see this looking at the upper air sort of atmosphere and movement as we see that air continue to work its way from south to north, that wind continuing to blow out a lot of the thicker and denser smoke, and so things become a bit more blue with our skies. A little more so on Saturday, a lot more so heading into the day on Sunday. And temperatures, looks like both days here for more of the areas here closer to Puget Sound in the upper 70s. And by the time we head on into Tuesday, we are going to see a slight cool down there, partly sunny skies, but then seeing those highs back up near the upper 70s by the end of next work week. All right, so radar has been a little active here past couple of days, and just like you see right there, the opportunity for seeing some of those flaring up showers and storms across the Cascades will be around again heading into Saturday. So looking at that futurecast, you can see for us heading into more of early Saturday morning, not a whole lot to talk about, maybe a quick little hit shower coming through, but we'll see some of that energy begin to pick up during the afternoon hours, and mainly near and east of the Cascade Crest is where we'll have the better chances. Now, that's going to diminish and die off as we head on into that time. You'll see as we get ready to head on into Sunday morning, a lot of clouds out there. That's going to keep us a little cooler earlier on, but we'll get ready for more sunshine as we head into the afternoon there. And by Sunday afternoon and into more of the day on Monday, those afternoon mountain storms, well, they're pretty much gone at that point. How much rain, though, could we see out of that? And this is really going to be dependent upon where exactly those storms do fall, but it shows you the potential that some of these storms do have of producing some heavier pockets of rain. I mean, up to a third of an inch there around White Pass. Again, if the storm goes more overhead there at White Pass, could be impressive, could be very beneficial too, and that's something we've been noticing with these storms, is that they have been rain producers, at least for the most part. But again, with the lightning and thunder out there, the dry vegetation, not the greatest recipe when it comes to trying to get away from some of the fire danger that we've been dealing with. And looking at how things continue on into the remainder of the weekend and next work week, you can see the deeper reds are over parts of the Pacific Northwest. They're beginning to head their way far to the south, but we do still have a little bit of ridging happening here into the day on Monday, so that's why we still expect some of those highs to be around the 80-degree mark. But then as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, some of that starts to give way a little bit. But overall, though, while there may not be big changes, those slight changes do help us to drop down a bit more into more of the 70s for Tuesday and Wednesday. So we start to improve there as far as some of the high temperatures. If you're not a fan of the heat, that is, and the 80s, we'll climb up a little bit, but then drop back down again for the following weekend, heading into next Saturday and Sunday, and then into Monday. Forecasted lows into early Saturday morning between those mid to upper 50s, some lower 50s as you head farther to the north, and then highs most 70s off to the north, and we'll see some 60s out that way too, especially towards the coast, and then we'll have mid to upper 70s with a few lower 80s around Central and South Sound and the Kitsap Peninsula. Here's your 7-day forecast. Looks like we are going to keep things very summer-like and overall pretty comfortable. Nothing too extreme when it comes to any of our heat that we're going to have as we go throughout the next week or so, and still no good chances of rain anywhere on the horizon for us. But if there is anything that does change with that, of course, we'll let you know. Okay, everyone, well, enjoy your Saturday and your Sunday, and we'll talk to you soon.
And welcome back to the week. ICE wants to spend up to $20 million to purchase gloves that are capable of delivering electric shocks. That, according to new court documents obtained by King 5. Our Sharon Yu looked into the document.
So this is a video that we have when they detained him.
It's hard for Karen Gomez Lopez to watch the last moments her partner spent as a free man in America.
It's unsettling. Like, I can only imagine what was going through his mind.
Lopez says her partner Omar was in the car with his 11-year-old niece when ICE arrested him in the Federal Way Lowe's parking lot.
His niece was scared and ran into the store, and ICE chased after her and handcuffed her in the store.
Now, with news of ICE budgeting $10 to $20 million to equip agents with gloves capable of delivering electric shocks,
they were chasing him, and it was
Lopez shudders to think how her loved one's arrest could have been different.
I think this is just giving them a green light and permission to continue to exert even more violence.
Manufactured by a Lexington, Kentucky-based company called Compliant Technologies, the glove, generated low-output voltage emitter, is shown in their social media videos as capable of bringing down grown men to their knees.
Is uniquely alarming.
ACLU Washington's Jasmine Clark says people can be shocked without warning, and unlike a taser, the device is always worn on the hands.
The technology is effectively invisible, right? So to any type of bystander, it could look simply as an officer is touching you, and they are in fact inflicting pain in order to force compliance.
Why are you arresting me?
As for Lopez, she's turning to history to ask lawmakers how this would be reflected in the future.
Slavery was legalized, the Japanese internment camps were legalized, sending indigenous children to boarding schools were legalized. And so right now, this is legal, but it's not moral.
We have reached out to ICE to ask about that arrest of Lopez's partner and also about the deployment plan for the glove devices, but we haven't heard back. Greg?
So many questions people are going to have surrounding this. What can you tell us about the devices and about the company?
Yeah, so on the company's website, it says that the glove devices are actually safe, especially for people who wear pacemakers or are medically vulnerable. They also say that it doesn't impede with the heartbeat or the nervous system. But in its own manual, the user manual for the gloves, it says it is recommended to be not used on vulnerable populations like the severely disabled, children, elderly, and pregnant women.
Investigators now say the 3 men accused of opening fire on Seattle police officers this week ambushed them on a busy city street before the pursuit ended with a crash. Prosecutors say it's fortunate no innocent lives were lost.
The calm settles back over South Ryan Way after a night of chaos.
Help the officer, ML King and Cloverdale. Suspect shot at the plane officers.
The ends with a suspect standing before a judge Thursday afternoon.
I do have severe concerns for community safety.
The violence erupts Wednesday in South Seattle around 5:30 p.m. Police say plainclothes officers working an undercover case suddenly come under fire from a nearby car. Gunfire rips into the unmarked police vehicle, punching at least 8 holes into the car. No officers are hit, and they don't return fire. A chase follows, and the suspect's car slams into another vehicle near 51st Avenue South and Ryan Way. Police say the 3 suspects bail from the wrecked car and run. One allegedly tries to carjack a vehicle before officers take all 3 into custody. Investigators say someone stole the suspect's car out of South King County, and officers recover a rifle and a handgun inside. Now, one suspect sits in the hospital. A 17-year-old lands in the juvenile detention center. Police had already been looking for him in connection with another case.
The robbery cases, the investigation was for the 29th of June at the 7-Eleven on Upper Queen Anne.
And there's this suspect.
Considering that it appeared to be an ambush-style shooting of a car that was occupied by Seattle police officers, followed then by fleeing
we had police officers who were in unmarked cars.
In court, the 26-year-old's attorney denies the allegations, and the judge delivers the terms.
I am going to set bail in the amount of $1 million today.
A decision that sparks an instant reaction.
Oh my gosh, you know, it's not even worth it.
An officer hurt while making the arrest is expected to recover. The next hearing in this case is set for Monday afternoon. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
A family is pleading for answers after a driver hit and killed a father of 7 this week in Mukilteo. Police are still looking for that driver who took off. King 5's Brady Wakayama spoke to the man's close friend.
Wonderful figure in life. Like an example of how to be a man or a person or just a human being.
Humanity at its best on full display is how Tyson Dunn describes his dear friend and employee Jeff Woods. But Tuesday morning along Highway 525 at Beverly Park Road in Mukilteo, humanity was lost.
Someone ran into him and then it was a hit and run. They just drove off and they left him there to die on the road.
State troopers say a car turned left in front of Jeff's motorcycle, then left the scene. In a matter of seconds, a man described as the best of us was gone.
I'll never get away from that moment. And I don't want it to be about me. For her, it's 1,000 times worse, right? And they truly love each other.
That's how Dunn describes the call from Jeff's wife telling him about what happened. A call that broke him and this family, missing the man who held so much of it together.
It's not just her and a couple kids, it's her, all 7 of Jeff's kids, and his mother-in-law all live in the same house, and Jeff is the one that supported this entire household.
Troopers are still searching for the driver who left the crash scene.
In that time, could have saved this man's life, who literally made an impact on his community and his work and his family greater than anybody ever has. Why not take the time to save this man's life for a minute instead of thinking about your own selfish interests?
For Dunn, the driver didn't just leave the scene, they left Jeff's loved ones broken.
I'd tell him I loved him. I loved him like a brother. 2 brothers working together, making things happen. And that's what I wanted more than anything else, because he was just a wonderful man to know every minute I was with him.
And we want to thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed a look at the biggest stories of the week.